Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. And yes, folks, we are indeed getting back to and doing our final episode in regards to HIPAA and closing out that series today by teaching you all how to file a HIPAA complaint. Something that might become extremely pertinent coming up considering what's been going on with HHS. That being said, brief disclaimer. All source material that we have used throughout the duration of this HIPAA series you'll be able to find right there in the description box. So should you like to deep dive on your own or use the links in order for you to file a complaint should need be, you definitely are going to be able to do so. Trigger warning, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. I do use profanity, and some of the other topics we cover on this channel can be particularly triggering. So if you got a child that is 16 and younger and they are watching this, parental supervision is very much advised. Political trigger warning, if you're for one side or another, I am not. I usually tend to vote according to a particular person's disability policies, considering those are the policies that most directly affect my life and the life of my compatriots and families. So, I am likely to say something that may offend you. If it's not something that you are able to handle in a civil manner and you leave an inflammatory comment, it will probably be deleted and you will be blocked because quite frankly, I just don't have the time for all that negativity right now. Everything's already up in the air. My country has lost its damn mind. It continues to lose its mind in every single area. I don't have time for it. This is your only warning. Okay? Good? Good. Alright, so file a security complaint. You may file a security rule complaint electronically via the OCR complaint portal or using the Health Information Privacy Complaint package. Now, we're not going to be covering that side of it. If that's something you want to look more into, please just, when you see this link, which will be there in the description box for you, if you click right here, we'll just open it up real briefly. You just take this and you print it off and take it to your closest HH office. But let us go back to where we were. And let's continue on where we just left off there. If you mail or fax the complaint, be sure to send it in the appropriate OCR regional office based on where the alleged violation took place. If you don't know where that is for you, just put in your city and state in the Google search and make sure you put in OCR regional office. I'm pretty sure it will pop something up for you. OCR has 10 regional offices and each regional office covers specific states. Send your complaint to the attention of the OCR regional manager. You do not need to sign the complaint and consent forms when you submit them by email because submission by email represents your signature. Alright, now let's go below here before you file a complaint. Don't waste time filing a complaint we can't investigate. Review these questions before filling out a health information privacy or security complaint with OCR. Now we're going to look below. We're going to take a look at these questions. What is the nature of your complaint? And here is some of the options that they give here. Violation of civil rights based on race, color, national origin, disability, age, or sex. Violation of conscience or religious freedom. Violation of privacy or security of health information. That in particular is the one that we are focused on here. So we would mark this if that were the case. So we're going to mark it. We're going to go to next. Now it moves us to question 2. when did you learn of the most recent incident? So, if we go based off the news that inspired this whole HIPAA series, which is giving someone like RFK Jr., without our consent, access to our sensitive medical information for his so-called studies, for example, we can say definitively that that was done within the last 6 months, and according to his policies as of late, it is indeed ongoing. So we're going to mark here. By the way, again, I warned you at the beginning of this video, if you are an RFK person, you follow Maha like it's the gospel, this is probably not the particular channel for you. Please leave my comment section alone. Nobody has time for it. Alright, who is this complaint against? So, here's the entities that they give us examples for. The United States Postal Office. No. Not even remotely. No. Just no. A law enforcement agency. Housing. Social Security Administration. A life or auto insurance company. A workers' compensation carrier. None of these. What I'm looking for is if the person who is violating HIPAA is an actual government official. What does that look like? We were asking that question earlier. We'll take a look at that here in just a moment. But we're just going to mark none of these for right now. Now let's read the following questions, shall we? This one says, this is a complaint about a health insurance plan or a person or company that works with a health insurance plan. No. This is a complaint about a healthcare provider or person or company that works with a provider. No. This complaint is not against a health plan, a healthcare provider, or anyone who works with them. That we cannot say because HHS, as a rule, absolutely does. So can't mark that one. This next one says, I'm not sure. We're going to have to mark that because this is not really telling us what we do when the person under whom we feel like our information is unsafe is a government official who's actually head of the HHS. So we're going to be digging into that question next before we take a look at the OCR portal. Alright, so based on your responses, even with that, it says the civil rights may be able to help you. So please select the link below for the complaint form. So even with minimal information, it looks like what he was attempting to do, at least in general, tends to give people grounds for the HIPAA complaint. Now, we're going to ask the question that we just asked a moment ago. See what AI has to say, shall we? Alright, so this is how it reads, folks. To report a HIPAA violation by a government official, you should file a complaint with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office or for Civil Rights, OCR. Okay, so if it is a situation where it is an actual official, you would file that in regards to violations under the civil rights. So by disabled folks, my compadres, My fellows in fighting this insanity, take note of that. If you need to file a HIPAA violation because of these morons, then when you are filling out the form, make sure you do it for violation in particular of civil rights, because that looks like we're going to be able to have the strongest claim. Okay, let me go ahead and continue. As they are responsible for enforcing HIPAA rules against any covered entity or their business associates. You can do this by using the online OCR complaint portal, which is the recommended method for faster processing. Alternatively, you can do the mail-in, like we just talked about a moment ago, or you can complete the form, submit email, all the stuff we just went over. So even if it's the head of HHS, you would still file that with the HHS office, and you would do it under the Civil Rights OCR form. Now, we're going to go ahead and go back here. Gonna leave. Okay. So, now we were wanting to take a look at the portal, correct? Okay. We're pulling that up next. Alright, civil rights and conscience. Yes, we're going to read through that just real briefly. If you believe that a civil rights covered entity discriminated against you or someone else because of your or someone's race, color, natural origin, disability, age, sex, or religion in violation of federal civil rights under HHS jurisdiction, or has otherwise violated federal provider conscience laws, you may file a civil rights and conscience complaint with the OCR. A civil rights covered entity includes programs or activities that receive federal financial assistance from HHS and may include programs or activities that HHS directly operates. Alleging disability discrimination, a covered entity may also include services, programs, or activities operated by a state and local government agency and its political subdivisions. You may file a civil rights and conscience complaint for yourself or for someone else. The following examples are of potential covered entities, including instructions and personnel that may abide by federal civil rights laws. State and local agencies that are responsible for administering health care. State and local government income assistance and human service agencies. Hospitals, Medicaid and Medicare providers. Physicians and other healthcare professionals in private practice with patients assisted by Medicaid. Now remember that in order for them to share information with one another, though, you do have to fill out that consent form first, and they do not relay all of the information that's a part of your medical history, only the ones that are the most pertinent to share between doctors to best help coordinate your care. Medicaid and Medicare providers, family health centers, community mental health centers, alcohol and drug treatment centers, foster care homes, the drug treatments, nursing homes, things of that nature in particular, we're going to need to keep eyeballs on, because they're already talking about bringing asylums back as though that was such a brilliant solution in the first place. We're just going to, ignore the thousands and thousands and thousands of horror movies that start in an asylum and just say, well, we need to get these people off the streets. So keep your eyes out. They are making very slow moves, but they're deliberate. The painting is on the wall, folks. Do not keep your eye off the ball with these people. And I mean all of them, by the way. Repubs and Dems all use the same tricks. What really only changes is the party that's in power, but the tactics are the same. And by the way, we're not like Trump. We wouldn't have done all of this. Really? Really? Because you all have been policing language now for over 20 to 30 years. 20 to 30 years. You have been virtue signaling and lecturing all of us as though we're all 6-year-old children our whole lives. Please spare me. But we help the disabled people. Then explain to me why after 40 years and the death of 6 disabled children, places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center are continuing to operate, with the representatives continuing to refuse to demand for an investigation in a progressive-run, Democrat-led state. Decide. Let me continue. Nursing homes, public and private adoption and foster care agencies, daycare centers, senior citizen centers, senior and infant nutrition programs, any entity established under the Affordable Care Act, including state and federal health insurance exchanges, health insurance plans or companies, HMOs, pharmacies, homeless shelters, and health researchers. So this here says what to expect when an OCR receives a complaint. We review it to determine whether we have a legal authority to investigate the complaint. OCR may close the complaint based on a review of the facts presented by the complainant. OCR may act on complaints if a covered entity, a business associate of a HIPAA covered entity, allegedly violated any regulations enforced by OCR, and if the complaint is filed within 180 days of the alleged violation, or 180 days from when the individual should have known an alleged violation of the HIPAA rules, OCR may resolve the complaint with technical assistance, refer the complaint to another agency for appropriate action, and investigate the complaint or close the complaint without further investigation. Now let me go below here. What happens after investigation? Upon the completion of an investigation, OCR will issue a letter notifying the complainant that the investigation has been closed. The letter may include steps that OCR took to address the issue raised and or that the covered entity or HIPAA business associates took to respond to OCR's investigation. In some cases, OCR may negotiate a written agreement and corrective action steps with the covered entity or HIPAA business associate to resolve the compliance issues identified during the OCR's investigation. Alright, so it's given us all that language. It's giving us all these different languages to take a look at it in. And now we go to the top and we go here. And see, this is what the form looks like, folks. Just fill it out. And then it will have you do complaint details. It actually looks very straightforward. You can just go to the ocrportal.hhs.gov. I'm going to go again and include that link for you there, right there in the description box, along with all the information we just went over a moment ago, so that you'll be able to have access to it. And folks, that closes out our HIPAA series. For those who actually stayed around to watch this and get better understanding of what HIPAA is, as well as what we are currently up against, I definitely appreciate it. And if you could go ahead and begin sharing like crazy and get this out to as many people as you can, because although people like myself in particular, us autistic folks tend to be people like RFK Jr.'s #1 targets, don't think that they're not looking at other individuals as well. Don't forget his current, most recent snafu in how he decried that you could cure schizophrenia with food or a particular diet. You actually can't. I would know. A lot of us would know. But yeah, folks, I do appreciate your time. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you can have a good one. But before you go, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the comments. Make sure that your notifications are still turned on. We're still going to be doing, of course, the series Down the Rabbit Hole. And we are going to be premiering, most likely on this upcoming Sunday, the new snake oil series. Now, because I have some of my series that are finishing up, we're going to be moving around days on when we post particular videos, so please pay attention to me here. Tomorrow, we're going to continue on with Down the Rabbit Hole, and then Sunday we'll begin our snake oil series. And for a little while, at least, God willing, you'll just be seeing me come in on Saturdays and Sundays. Again, I do hope you all have a good one. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.